Molly, you're joining me right after the Australian Grand Prix weekend. Tell me a bit about how you spent the weekend and what you thought of the race. It was great to see Oscar up there in P4.
Yeah, he had a fantastic race. Yeah, I spent the whole weekend at the Grand Prix from Thursday to Sunday. So it was a very busy weekend, no driving, but just busy weekend as those always are. So yeah, I was really lucky to see the race from a few different spots actually, going around a few of our
Mm.
different sponsor hospitality units. So yeah, very busy, but it was great watching and the atmosphere was fantastic. I think we had a record crowd again on Sunday, so the numbers and yeah, the vibe was just unreal. And then for Oscar to be able to do such a good result as well, the crowd we're going absolutely crazy for him. So it was cool to see and nice to see, I mean, it was obviously unfortunate for Max. You never want to see someone doing such a good job have mechanical issues, but yeah, it turned out to be a really exciting race and great to see what Carlos was able to pull off.
Yeah, incredible. I mean, just after having his appendix out, I think we're all just in utter shock as to as to how he managed that. But very
Yes, yeah,
impressive.
yeah. No, there were a few question marks, but he shut up those doubters pretty quickly, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. Fair play to him. I always ask this with any motorsport guests because I just find it so interesting to hear the different answers. What is your first ever motorsport memory? The first ever one that you can think of?
Um, like to be honest, when the first one, I mean, there's probably earlier ones, but the first one that I think of was in the early 90s. I would have been about, maybe five. And my mum was co-driving in the Toyota factory team in the Celica GT4s, and we used to always go to the Coffs Harbour round, which was a round of the World Championship for a while. And we used to go and watch them compete. It was the final round; they'd won the championship, so we got to stand up on the bonnet, at the final of the podium, which was a memory, but also just as strong was like the memories of the water slides in the hotel. And I think as a
Ah,
kid, we were enjoying going to the hotel and as well as the rally. So yeah, that's my strongest early memory.
love it, love it. Priorities. You gotta have them in check.
Yeah, yeah, we're in a rally, go on a water slide. It was a pretty cool weekend.
Yeah, love it. And you're spending a chunk of your time the last couple of years, including this year, driving in Extreme E. What excites you the most about Extreme E and what it offers as a racing series in comparison to all the other ones that are out there?
Yeah, I think it's hard to sort of narrow one thing down in Extreme E. From a driving side, having the opportunity to drive the electric cars in all the different locations and just the variety that we get is incredible. But I think it's also, for me as a driver, having the opportunity to be able to learn from such experienced world champions is, that opportunity doesn't come along very often. So yeah, for me personally, like that's been just an amazing thing, and I've learned so much of the last couple of years as a driver and developed so much just by having that opportunity. So that's a massive part of it for me. And then I think there's the other side, which is kind of when you take the racing and everything we're passionate about, but kind of flip it to like how can we use this to do more and to kind of help be more of a part of the world around us and tackling climate change and sustainability, gender equality, all those things, and kind of to be part of a movement around that is pretty special and pretty inspiring because we all start out because we love driving cars, but to sort of look at it and think it can be bigger than that, that's like it makes it a lot more meaningful as well. So I think it's like a very rewarding from both those perspectives, whichever way you look at it.
Yeah, completely. I love that perspective on it. And what I know you're kind of in between races at the moment. It's quite a while until till the next one. But what does a race week in Extreme E usually look like for you? Because obviously, with the tracks being so remote, there isn't necessarily a huge amount of prep that you could do, in comparison to other places that you're going when it's a kind of established racetrack.
Yeah, it's one of the unique things of Extreme E. You don't know what you're in for at all until you kind of do the track walk on Thursday, and then you do it on foot, whatever location and whatever sort of terrain that you're at. So it's then you only get two practice runs. So to kind of see something on foot and then just have a couple of laps to figure it out, and then you're straight into the races. Motorsport is always hard to get seat time, but this is like extreme Extreme E, I guess it fits, but it's like taking that to the extreme. So it really is all about how quickly you can adapt, because there isn't a lot of seat time, and when you're on, you've got to be on straight away. So it's definitely like one of the specific challenges of driving in Extreme E, that you have to kind of figure things out quickly, and then every lap you do is different because the track's evolving so much, because it's not really an actual track. So on the natural terrain, everything is always different every time you see it. So it's a lot of just kind of running on the fly and not making up as you go. That's probably not it's probably a bit too loose, but just having to kind of in the moment just trust your sort of instincts and go with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you kind of came onto the scene in Extreme E with a bang as part of the team that won the first series and finished last year's championship in P3. What are your goals for 2024 racing with Veloce?
Oh, I mean, our goal is very clear to win the championship. We came so close last year, and had a couple of unfortunate events, but we still, I think, with the equal number of wins across the season. So we've been able to show what we can do as a team, and so we know that championships very much within our grasp, and that's 100% the focus for this year to be champions.
Love that. And you mentioned gender equality as far as being part of the Extreme E package. There's been a number of times in your career before that where you've kind of had a first female driver achievement, and I think it's a tough one because you always want to be rewarded for your driving as opposed to anything else outside of that. But equally, how important do you feel that representation is to show younger aspiring drivers in particular, that they can get to the highest level of whatever series they're interested in racing in?
Yeah, it's a really good point, and it's an interesting question, because when I started racing, particularly in rally, more often than not, you're the only female there. So kind of, you're always the first female.
Yeah.
Kind of no matter how well you do. And so then, inevitably when you do new things, you do, as you say, sort of you're the first female to do certain things. But, it was never about that for me, and kind of almost, shied away from that a bit, because you're just out there and you want to kind of be the best you can be, regardless of whether you're competing against men or women. So something I kind of never really sort of looked into or took much stock of, or never kind of tried to have that as one of my targets. But I think now, looking at what Extreme is doing and sort of being involved at a higher level for a little while, you realize how important that is in terms of, as you say, the visibility, because my mum was competing at the national level and winning championships as a co-driver when I was growing up. So I had that visibility. I could see what was possible, and that sort of, you can't be what you can't see. I think it is really important, because young girls, no one's saying to them, you can't be a rally driver or you can't be a race driver. But when, young kids are just seeing everything that's happening around them, and when they don't see women doing it, it's kind of hard for them to imagine that, or suddenly say, oh, I want to do this thing that I've never seen anyone that looks like me do. So I think it is incredibly important, and I can see the influence that mum had on me, and how subconscious that was really. And so then it does make you think, when you do these things, it's not about sort of, I guess, my pride of me trying to be the first female or the fastest female. It's more about how we can increase the visibility so that our grassroots level changes and we have more females at grassroots, because we know how difficult it is in motorsport for anyone, male or female. So if we have a bigger percentage at the bottom, then over the next few generations, we'll see that sort of gender equality start to become like a more organic thing. So it's definitely important to, from that perspective, to be able to change it. But for me, you want to win regardless of who you're racing against.
Absolutely. And as far as your skills personally as a driver, what do you think are your sort of top one or two skills in your toolbox that regardless of what situation you're kind of dumped into, I guess, in the case of Extreme E, that you could really rely on to help you pull out a performance?
Yeah, another good question. I think for me, it's been such a road to get here, and kind of, so many highs and lows of motorsport, and how much sort of effort and sacrifice and work to get to this point, and it's kind of, you know, like putting everything into it, to the expense of everything else for so many years, that I know when you get into difficult circumstances, I kind of feel like I've been in a lot of difficult circumstances and been through a lot, and like very persistent to a fault sometimes. So I kind of, I know within myself that, you know, what I've been through to get there and how much I want to be there. And I think that's kind of a strength of mine, because I sort of, you know, I know what I've put in to get to that point. So I kind of feel like whatever is thrown at me, you know, can't be more than everything that I've had to overcome before that.
Yeah, that resilience is definitely key. And I think it kind of shows in the choices you've made too, as far as, you know, being involved in the Dakar rally. Like, that is the most grueling race in the world. Totally. Do you think it is that resilience, that kind of just grit and determination that like pushes you to choose to get involved in those kind of series that are, you know, they are outside the norm, and they do require, as you said, a kind of different level of, I guess, determination and preparation, everything that goes along with that?
Yeah, I guess to an extent, that's probably accurate. I think I sort of was always involved in a rally family, so that's kind of been the natural progression for me. I only kind of got involved myself because I got the opportunity when I was getting my license to try a rally car, just from a driver training point of view. And then it was that kind of car sliding around on dirt, and that was a feeling that I fell in love with, and that's kind of why I pursued it. So I was never really, you know, go-karting or any of doing that track stuff. So it kind of evolved from there, and then Extreme E came on board, and you know, then it's just grabbing every opportunity that comes up. So when the opportunity came to do the Dakar, it was, you know, we used to watch it every year growing up in January at home. It was kind of, I mean, in Australia around the summer, everyone watches the cricket, but in our family, it was everyone watching the Dakar. So yeah, those sort of things I do, yeah, like the sense of satisfaction. And I think rallying is a massive challenge, so it's an extension of that. And that, you know, when you know how difficult it is and how many elements you have to get right, it's kind of like addictive. Sometimes you hate it when it's all going wrong, but that sense when you can kind of get it together and it all works, like, that's just the best feeling, and that's what keeps you coming back for more.
Yeah, I can imagine that's super rewarding for sure. What is your dream track that you haven't had a chance to race at yet? Obviously, we kind of have to exclude Extreme E, because that could be literally anywhere on any surface.
Extreme E in Australia, that's what I'm really campaigning for.
Yeah,
that would be my dream. I think we've got so much diverse terrain, we could do a whole championship there, but I keep pushing them to do that, but not winning that one yet, but we'll keep working on it. I think for me, like, in Scandinavia, especially from a rally perspective, it's the mecca of rally, and I've been fortunate enough to do Rally Finland a few times, but Rally Sweden in the winter, that's still, or snow rally, that's still something I haven't done, and that's probably the first one on my bucket list if there was an event that I haven't done before.
Nice. And then just to finish up, my last question was, I know that you loved horse riding growing up, so there's definitely a horsepower element. There's a theme coming through here. Is that something you're still passionate about, and kind of how do you spend your downtime when you're not, you know, in between races or prepping?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't ridden in years and years. I think it's a bit like motorsport, and it's quite an all-consuming sport.
Yes, true.
I don't know where I sort of got that from, because it doesn't really run in my family. Just randomly, you know, when I was younger, I wanted to be an Olympian horse rider, and that was sort of, you know, growing up as a young teenager, that was my dream. So that's why I got involved in rally a bit later, when I realized like more than 1 horsepower was more fun. So it definitely, yeah, something that I haven't. I mean, one day I would love to go and do again for fun, but yeah, rallying and Extreme E and motorsport, yeah, takes up all of my time. But you know, it's something you're passionate about, so there's not a lot of downtime. I'm lucky to live in Australia though, and you know, we've got beautiful beaches and beautiful outdoors, so I'm getting outside whenever I'm home, especially when the weather's good. That's kind of my way to recharge. But yeah, 99% of the time it's doing something that's involved in motorsport, but I can't complain, because it's, yeah, doing what you love.
For sure, 100%. Look, Molly, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me here. It's been great getting to know you a bit better, and wish you the very best luck for the rest of 2024.
Thanks so much, and yeah, definitely got a soft spot for Crow Island, Irish family lent me a car in 2010 to do the British Championship in. So I've spent a lot of time over there, and particularly the rally community over there is just unreal. So it got a lot of very good friends over there, and it feels like a second home.
Oh, love to hear that. That's amazing.